All right, back live tonight. The Water and Sanitation Department is calling on Free State municipalities to prepare for the closure of a tunnel from the Lesotho Highlands Project officially, saying this will be shut down for about 6 months, which means the country will not be receiving supply from the Kingdom. Water and Sanitation Deputy Minister David Mahlobo with us now for more on this. DM, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. You've been announcing this, I'm sure, since March, that it is coming in October, and now October is here, but there seems to be a scramble now at this late hour. Many are saying this 6-month closure spells trouble for South Africa, with, for example, 60% of the water in Gauteng coming from this project.
No, thank you very much, Tawa, and a very good evening to your viewers. This is a scheduled maintenance. It's nothing new. This tunnel that comes from Lesotho, from the phase 1, supplying water to us here as a country, and in the main into the integrated Vaal River system that Rainwater is managing. We are very pleased with the preparations that have happened between the two countries, the Lesotho Development Agency, Highlands Development Agency, and our TCTA. They are ready now. Contractors are appointed, very, very technical work that is high caliber of engineering, and it must be synchronized. Minister Phemima Jodina made a decision after briefing the Portfolio Committee on Water and Sanitation and all other stakeholders, just to have a sense whether they are ready or not. Yesterday, we undertook a visit led by Minister. We met all the municipalities that are affected, especially under the Hlabing district, Thabo Mfutsanyana, district, and the Fezile Dabi district. The MEC was there. We could see that these municipalities, they are ready at different levels. And Minister made a decision to say, we are going to support them, oversee that the implementation is not going to be a problem.
All right.
But for the country, this is not the first time that this tunnel is being rehabilitated, because it's an important thing around management of an asset. You don't do it, it will have a problem. Gauteng, as a major province, we are very satisfied that the water availability from the main source, which is the Vaal River system, there will be no problems, because the Vaal River system, Thabo, is supplied by 17 dams. During this period of 6 months, if the water in the Vaal River system is coming down to around below 18%, we'll then do releases from the supporting dams, especially the one in Sterkfontein in the First State around Harrismith is full, is being supplied by Woodstock, but also the dams in Mpumalanga, they will supply Gauteng.
Yeah.
But it does not necessarily mean the problem that municipalities of Gauteng they have, they will be over because of supplying that water. Remember the problem in Gauteng, the bulk infrastructure around the reservoirs in Gauteng, they are not sufficient. That's why all municipalities, when I joined the Premier on Friday, they are working to put more reservoirs, more booster pumps, fixing the leaks because they lose a lot of water.
Yes.
Because rainwater is pumping more.
Yes.
On the Free State side, Thabo, one of the things that Minister did was to go to an Ash River dam. There is a canal dam that is feeding to Ash River Dam, and then it feeds to Velke River, and then it comes to the Vaal system. There was already a release that the minister had actually directed that TCTA and our officials must release water so that there must be more water available in the dams, and also that they must treat more water it gets into their reservoirs from the treatment plants. But we then went up also to where there's a Klein Caledon, because it's a Caledon river and the canal that is there. Water is already coming down, and it's also coming down to the issues of Bloemfontein. Then we went to the border of Lesotho where the tunnel starts, and a very good work is there, and we're ready to do that. But then there's an additional dam that is there. It's called Saltsport. You would remember where people perished during the May Day some years back when workers were celebrating them. We're also going to be pumping water more into those systems. those dams will be able to release water for those municipalities to do some work. But some of these municipalities, Thabo, they are weak. Therefore, the issue of support of them through issues of additional boreholes, ensuring that their reservoirs are properly audited, we bring them into functionality. Even next week, there's going to be another meeting. A team that is led by the DG of our province, of National Department of Water, the leadership of the province of COPTA, and the municipalities and TCTA, they will be continuously looking at them at that. But the message was that even during this period, we can provide water, but we don't have plenty water.
Yeah. So the impact could have been categorized probably in about 5 areas, which you have touched on a number of them already. But of course, key would have been, are we going to find ourselves in a situation where there's, for example, reduced pressure on the water that is coming out, there'll be scarcity and there'll be restrictions?
One of the things that will continue to happen is that restrictions will be imposed. And there are, in many instances, restrictions, Thabo, they are already in place. For an example, in Gauteng, they are under restriction level 1. In other words, we are not allowed to actually do your gardening, irrigation of your gardening during the course of the day, because it doesn't make sense. During the day, it's hot, there is evaporation. The right time to do irrigation is in the evening. And we're also saying that when you do irrigation, start to use more of the wastewater that you have. You can't also be washing the cars, Thabo, in such a way that when you wash the car, you are using a hose pipe. Instead of using a bucket to start to clean the car, you save water and you do the recycling. Those are some of the things that would be imposing on them, reducing the pressure valve, because there are pressure reducing valves within every network. You will not see that the water has been reduced, but people must use water sparingly. But at the very same time, there are too many leaks. An example in Gauteng, we are pumping rainwater about 5 billion liters a day. But more than 45%, which is more than 2 billion liters, is going on the ground. And that water, if it is lost, the municipality lose money, they will owe rainwater. But at the very same time, the citizens will not be there. Therefore, issues of teams that fix leaks within few hours, not 48 hours, is going to be an important issue around management of the system. Others monitor the reservoirs. If they are at a particular point below the health status, which is 60%, then they will know how to adjust and give the reports all the time. But the issue of society playing their part during this period is going to be very important, because there's a heat wave that is happening right now. There's inclement weather condition that will be coming through. Those are the things that we'll look at. But we have what can I call it? An opportunity of 3 months if anything happens. We know that the water will be available for a period of 9 months before the system gets into critical stage. Even if the work can be delayed in the 6 months, but then there's that particular leeway of a 3 months additional period. But it's not for the first time we're doing this thing. TCTA, they are going to be doing it for the 4th time. 2019 it was done, 2012 it was done, and the years that were there before, we just coordinated well with Lesotho, and we hope that they will do their best as they've done in the past.
People may need alternative water sources. I mean, for example, such as underground. At what point do we begin to tap into those sources? We won't even begin to speak about bottled water, because our economy will just not be able to allow people to afford that right now.
It's only in Free State where exploring groundwater is the biggest option, because some of their infrastructure, Thabo, that they should have brought into line in terms of commissioning, there were delays. Therefore, we'll then drill some groundwater, but we're not just going to drill. Already we're checking whether there is an availability of a yield in terms of the aquifers, so that we don't use money, and it should not be in a position that it is abused. Therefore, this period of drilling of the boreholes, supported by the department with funding, is an important matter. But the water that they were getting from the surface system, in terms of the canals and the dams, that's why the minister had directed over the last 2 days, already water is being released from the Caledon system, whether it's the Clean Caledon, whether it's the main Caledon. The water is flowing down. If you can go to an Ash River Dam, there's a confluence there where it takes the water from the tunnel itself. The water is coming through them. The other one is going to service the areas of Mangaung, and the others, Fezile Dabi and Thabo Mfutshanyana, and will keep that particular flow until the 1st of October. But on the 1st of October is a total shutdown. Then there's going to be the dewatering of the tunnel, because the tunnel is very long, number of kilometers underground in terms of that piping that will happen. Therefore, immediately there are times when the water goes down, we'll then release from the other dams that I've said. They are the balancing dam, whether the one in Southport, whether the one that must feed Gauteng, which is your Sterkfontein, your Woodstock, and the others.
Yeah. Having said that, I mean, you've done this on 3 or 4 other occasions from what I'm hearing you. It would mean that the agricultural sector, I suppose, which is heavily dependent on consistent and reliable water sources for irrigation, would have adjusted, I suppose, to this process of maintenance.
Definitely so. It's not only the agricultural sector. All the water users, Thabo, must use water sparingly. The agricultural sector, we know there's been a heat wave. The rains have not started on time. How they are actually irrigating their crops and managing their issues of feedlot, it is going to be very important. We'll want them to use less water, and then they should be in a position to produce more. But in the consultation and working together with the farming communities around the areas of Free State and elsewhere, it has been a good working relationship, and will continuously during the first month and the second month when the processes are starting. There will be a highly level of oversight by the minister, supported by the 2 deputy ministers, the premiers of those particular provinces, but with more communication. But we must indicate we will not succeed on this project if the behavior of citizens and the water users, they will behave as if there's plenty of water. Water is a finite resource. It must be used wisely.
Deputy Minister, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on and your intervention tonight. Deputy Minister for Water and Sanitation there, David Mahlobo, on that update. Right, let's take a break. In Focus continues in a moment. Stay with us.